This is how much I've lost with Jenny Craig. 34 kilos of pizza. Now I've lost the weight, I feel dangerous, seriously. I've got so much energy to do, well, anything I want. Guys, put the pizza down, pick up the phone and call Jenny.
James, do you spend much time reviewing a loss like that, or do you move on pretty quick to the next game?
We watched it a few times, and as a coaching group, we obviously review the game and try and work out how we can get better. But after probably halfway through the third quarter, it was sort of a continuing theme. So we reviewed it, we showed the players, and we move on to this week.
You sort of question the effort of some of your players after performance like that?
No.
So, there's been a lot of commentary since the game saying maybe Essendon need to toughen up and these sort of things, but you don't believe that was the case on the weekend?
If it was as simple as toughening up, it'd be an easy fix, but I think there's a few more issues than that. Certainly the work rate of some players throughout that game wasn't as high as other games, and we'd like to see a higher work rate this week.
What are some things you think you can fix within 5 or 6 days?
Certainly the defensive side of our game needs to be better. Work around the contest. We got smashed in the clearances, smashed in the contested ball, around that contest, and our ability to defend the ground, which we've worked on a fair bit in the last 5 days.
You're scratching your head a bit about the scale of the way the side's fallen away this year.
The size of the losses is not good. I think you can lose games against good teams, and you can justify that, and you can be happy with the way players have played, and you can tactically get beaten, or different things you get beaten which you can rationalise. But the size of those losses is disappointing, and that's something that as a group with coaching staff and players, that we want to instill a strength in our guys, that we don't let those games blow out. When you're 35, 40 points down the game, you've got a choice. You play it out and you try and hopefully win, but bring it back to a respectable target, or you let it blow out. And I think we've let them blow out over, what was it? It's been 5 or 4 of the last 6 have blown out, so we need to be better than that.
Do you sort of overtrain them or push them too hard and did to make them stronger and faster and better too quickly?
We'll have to sit down at the end of the year and review whether we think that's the case.
Bomber and Cat on Monday night, you had a few ideas about what's gone wrong and how you can fix it. Give us an idea of what they are.
Not yet, no. We're going to sit down and we're going to go through it. We have been going through what we need to improve on, but we've done a fair bit right in the first half of the year too. So you're very careful to overreact and throw everything out. And I think there's some things you need to adjust, and we will adjust. We're not going to throw everything out either, because we've got guys who have taken their football a long way in the first 3 quarters of the year. But at the moment we're struggling a bit.
Do you do anything to adjust this week to make sure their confidence is at a level where you actually able to compete? I assume it'd be
We'll be able to compete. We will definitely be able to compete, and we'll run out and give a very good effort tomorrow night. They're a pretty resilient group, this group. They've got an amazing captain who's pretty tough, and he was a bit flat after the game, or very flat after the game. But he'll get his players up as we will work to get our players up, and we'll give a very good effort tomorrow night.
How hard is it going for you to lift their confidence after a really big loss compared to just lifting their confidence after, say, 15, 20 point loss or something like that? Is there a big difference for you, harder job for you to do it, set those or?
Is it harder? I'm not sure whether it's harder or easier. I just know that after that game there was a lot of flat guys, but we trained very well Tuesday. We all caught up for dinner Saturday night after the game. It's not whether it's my job or whether it's their own players' job to get themselves up. I mean, there's a motivating force of the coach and the people around them, but ultimately a player's responsible for how they react to a loss and how they get themselves out of that.
You mentioned before you think it's a resilient group, but the fact that you've fallen away in so many games, is that an area they need to get more resilient?
It's resilience is part of it. Ability to run, keep up with other teams is a part of it. Ability to stay in the moment. I think there's a lot of factors that resilience is one of them. And when you've got a lot of young guys out in the field, that's an area we work on. But as individuals, a lot of them are pretty resilient sort of people.
And personally, what have you learned? You had a really good start and then sort of fallen away.
Oh, that we've got a lot of work to do. Yeah, I think we've done some good things, but we've got a lot of work to do in some other areas, and we need to keep working hard.
And personally yourself, what have you learned
About me, I don't focus too much on me. I try to focus on other people and what they need to learn.
Sort of summarise the game.
Richmond, very good ball movement team, got an excellent midfield, will spread very hard, work the ball very well out of their background, make the ground bigger, and are hard to defend if you give them that chance to get their mark kick or their first possession game going. So a big ground. I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like just yet, but it'll be a game of two sides that move the ball pretty well.
There was a bit said about Colin Dempsey's reaction to the umpires last week. Have you spoken to him about that?
We've had a chat about our reaction to the umpires over the last 3 or 4 weeks. I think we've given away far too many 50-metre penalties, and I think the players are in no uncertain terms about what sort of reaction they should have towards the umpires. Nick O'Brien's a very good chance to play this week. In fact, he will play. Kid from North Ballarat. Unfortunate for him, he didn't play early in the year. Hurt his foot. He would have played a lot earlier this year, but hurt his foot in, I think, round 2 or 3 of the Bendigo team. So he's put him back a bit. But yeah, a running machine, and another young kid to come into a game come into our team. I think will be a big future for our footy club.
He's sort of half forward, but he seemed to get a bit of the ball from Bendigo last week, more than half forward probably usually would.
Yeah, half forward, up around the ball. He's a hard running half forward, so he can, 6'2", hard running half forward. I think the game's made for those sort of guys who can play multiple positions and good on the ground, good over their head, and also a good contested ball player. So let's not put too much pressure on him. It's his first game, but we're very excited to have him in the team. Yeah, Dustin's pretty good. He strained his sartorius, which is a muscle that I'd never heard of before, and is up somewhere deep in the hip that will probably only keep him out for a week. I was really concerned with the injury that it might be a tendon, a rectus femoris tendon, which is a bad injury, but it was a pretty minor injury, and if he's not right next week, won't play him. But we think he's a pretty good chance to play against Collingwood.
It seemed the defence just lost confidence once he went down. It's still a little bit of a concern that he's so vital to your like in his last season, as you'd say.
You think he's finished in the next couple of years? You never know. You never know. Yeah, look, Dustin's an amazing player, and I think when he's not there, the guys have to work a little bit harder. So, but as you said, that'll happen one day, and they've got to learn to deal with that. And looks like Tate Pears will come in, which is good. Carl Hooker, which is the future of our footy club. They need to step up tomorrow night.
Are you using the remote possibility, very remote possibility of playing time outside motivating factor this week, or is it last week sort of motivating enough to get back on horse?
The motivating factor for us is to go and play the way we want to play, the way we've coached them, the way they know how to play, and that's the motivating factor for us, to get our game back. And it hasn't been there. You saw a symbol of it against Adelaide. I think Adelaide game we played pretty well 2 weeks ago, and we played the way we wanted to play. But other than that game, there's been quarters, but there hasn't been a full game. So that's the motivating factor for myself and for the players to actually just go out and play the game the way we want to play it, rather than worrying about finals or worrying about redemption or anything like that. It's get our game back.
You mentioned before the ability to sort of run with teams for 4 quarters. Paul Hamilton mentioned, I think it was Monday, that you've had to play some underdone players at times this year. So how much has that been a factor in some of these blowout margins?
I'm not sure, Jules. As a coach, you don't want to make any excuse for your performance. You put guys out there, you pick guys, you go and you play. And if you get beaten by a lot, then we didn't play well enough. I'm sure other sides have got players who are underdone, other sides have got players with injuries. So we put our team out there, and we expect everyone to play to the highest of their ability, or to the best of their ability. And if they don't, then we ask questions why, and that's ask questions of them and ask questions of me as to why they're not playing the way we want them to play. I'm not going to sit here and make an excuse for underdone or injured players as to why we're not playing well.
If you do miss the finals, I guess the natural assessment for people is the team's gone backwards. How would you assess the season if you don't play finals?
No, I wouldn't say we've gone backwards. I'd say that let's have a look at the end of the year. Let's have a look at our win-loss, see whether we've won more games than we did last year, which we win tomorrow night. We have more games as clubs won in, I think, since 2004. If we win tomorrow night, it's a big if we win tomorrow night, but there's a very good chance of that. And you've got to look at individual players. Have they improved? Have they got better? And that's how we'll look at the end of the year. I don't want to. We're still 2 games to go, and we'll look at whether we've come forward or we've gone back. But what we do need to look at is, have we laid a foundation to then go forward again next year and then go forward the year after? And that's what I'm very confident we have.
What gives you the confidence that you have?
I've seen the work. I've seen the work our players have put in. I've seen the way their bodies have changed. I've seen the way they're able to compete against very good teams for a long part of the game, which we couldn't do last year. I think we lost by less than a goal to Sydney, Adelaide and Collingwood, who, correct me if I'm wrong, are the top 3 teams in the competition at the moment. And had our chance to win those games. So they're ifs and buts, and they don't mean a lot because we didn't win. But that's why I'm confident we've set a foundation going forward.
Scott's Lochner from left field. Second quarter last week, when centre clearances and you were struggling with centre clearances, do you ever think about using Michael early and getting in the action more? And it's obviously grabbing the balls in his area.
Yeah, we use Michael a lot. Not a lot. We used Michael in the centre square last year. We just don't think he's had the preparation to be throwing him around too much. I think the last time I moved Michael from his position to the back line, he did his hamstring in round 4 against Carlton, so I'm a little bit hesitant to throw him around too much at the moment. But that's a possibility going forward next year when we can get a good pre-season into Michael, where he has more endurance, can run a bit better. But the other thing is, he still had 5 shots a goal last week. I think he had 6 shots the week before. You're taking away one of the best competitors in your forward line to plug a gap somewhere else. And you expect with the midfield we had on the weekend that we'd get more of the ball out of the middle than we did. And that's credit to Carlton. They were terrific in the midfield. But our players who are given the right to go in there, and we want them to perform.
Given there has been such a decline in the second half of the season, do you look next year towards building a momentum over the entire season and having that stamina, rather than, do you go all out in the first half and then kind of dwindle down, or do you somehow space yourselves out?
It's like we'd love to have the momentum every year and stamina every year. I think that unfortunately every game is important as the next. So you can't sit here and say, round 2 we'll just go a bit less because we want to. It just doesn't work like that. If you take your foot off the pedal in any game, then you get beaten. And the one thing I know is that if you win games early, you set your season up. Whereas you lose games early, you're chasing your tail the whole time. And I think we set our season up, we just didn't finish it off, or haven't finished it off. But as you said over there, that there is a chance, isn't there? Okay, well, there's a chance. Thanks, guys.